Last Wednesday, the Prime Minister told this House that no minister or special advisor was involved in the handling of the China spy case. Yet the Sunday Times has since reported that the Home Secretary had, quotes, heard the case might collapse and had made representations to ensure the evidence put forward was as strong as possible. So I asked the Minister, when did the Home Secretary become aware the case might collapse? And what representations did the Home Secretary or her proxies make about the evidence, and to whom? Why has the House been told, including just now, that ministers and advisers were not involved in any way when the Sunday Times reports that they were? The Sunday Times also reported on a key meeting that took place on September the 1st, a meeting the government originally denied took place. Is it true Jonathan Powell chaired that meeting? Did the meeting discuss the CPS view that the evidence provided to that point was inadequate? And did that meeting discuss the possibility of providing further evidence in the case? And will the Minister agree to publish the minutes of all meetings in which this case was discussed and the correspondence relating to it? The Sunday Times reported that following the meeting, the Attorney General's office was asked to speak to the CPS. Did anyone from the AGO speak directly or indirectly to the CPS after that meeting? And can the Minister confirm that Dan Chugg from the Foreign Office was at that 1st September meeting? And can the Minister also confirm it was the same Dan Chugg who approached the Lord Speaker with a proposed deal in which the Chinese ambassador would be allowed back into Parliament? The Sunday Times also reported that the DNSA is understood to have acknowledged privately that the decision not to say China is an ongoing threat was political in nature. Is that true? Finally, the current government's position has been that all the evidence provided related to the last government's policy, but we now know that is categorically not true. We know from Matt Collins' third statement of August this year, in paragraph 8, that he copied and pasted from the Labour manifesto, and he stressed the importance the current government attaches to a positive relationship with China, weakening the evidence compared to 2023 and bringing in current government policy, contrary to what we have been told in recent weeks. So, why has the government been providing this House with inaccurate information, and why did ministers know what the CPS wanted but refused to give it to them?
Let me make this point crystal clear, Mr. Speaker. No member of this government nor any special advisor was in any way involved in the evidence submitted to the CPS or the decision by the DPP not to proceed with the case. And, Mr. Speaker, there was an important omission from the Shadow Home Secretary's remarks just now. As members will know, the first substantive witness was provided under the previous government, when the Right Honourable Member was a Home Office Minister. Yet neither he nor the Leader of the Opposition have taken the opportunity to say what involvement Conservative ministers and Conservative special advisers had in the main tranche of the evidence. Now, the Prime Minister has confirmed that no Labour ministers or special advisers were involved with the provision of evidence for this case. And last Wednesday, during Prime Minister's questions, the Prime Minister asked the Leader of the Opposition to confirm if that was also the case under the previous government. Now, I was in the House last Wednesday, Mr. Speaker, and I think that I heard the Leader of the Opposition confirming from a sedentary position that she did know the answer to that question. But the party opposite have refused to confirm if any Conservative ministers or special advisers were involved in the provision of evidence under the previous government. I wonder if any of the former ministers here can provide the answers today. Mr. Speaker, as ministers have repeatedly said from this dispatch box, this government is extremely disappointed that the case did not proceed to trial. I gently say to the opposition front bench, they need to stop throwing mud and start coming to terms with what happened on their watch.
Andy Slaughter.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The Chair of the Home Affairs Select Committee and other relevant Select Committee chairs, including myself, have met with the Director of Public Prosecutions and have sent him a detailed series of follow-up questions. The Chair of the Joint Committee on National Security Strategy has convened an inquiry and is likely to be calling a number of relevant witnesses, including government ministers. And the Minister has also mentioned that the
I now call Chris Philp to ask his urgent question.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To ask the Home Secretary to make a statement about Home Office involvement in the alleged China spying case.
Minister.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Can I thank the Shadow Home Secretary for the question, and can I thank you, Mr Speaker, for the opportunity to respond to it today. As I have repeatedly set out to the House, the Prime Minister, the Home Secretary and the wider government are extremely disappointed that this case will not be heard in court. I have heard the strength of feeling right across the House, and I share members' concern about the threats that we face from espionage. The witness statements released last Wednesday vindicate what the Prime Minister and other members of the government have stated repeatedly. The Deputy National Security Advisor faithfully and with full integrity set out the various threats posed by the Chinese state to the UK and did so in order to try and support a successful prosecution. Now, this urgent question asked about the Home Office's involvement. Following the charging decision being made in early 2024 under the previous government, the CPS advised the witness that he could not share the evidence with others in government. Therefore, the Home Office's involvement following the charging decision that was taken under the previous government was heavily restricted to avoid breaching the CPS's requirements. Now, I have repeatedly made clear in this House...
Don't need any help from the side, please. This is a very important statement that really does affect members of this House. Minister.
Mr Speaker, as I have repeatedly made clear in this House, ministers and special advisers were not involved in any aspect of the production of the evidence. And I stand by that statement today. The Prime Minister has also made clear that he was informed of the CPS's decision only a matter of days before the case collapsed. There is nothing that the Prime Minister or any other minister could have done at that point and would have changed what the law and what the policy was under the previous government between 2021 and 2023. Now, Mr Speaker, for those that have read the DNSA's statements, they will see that they clearly articulated the threats posed from China based on the previous government's policy at the time and detailing the damage that was caused by the alleged offences. Ultimately, it was an entirely independent decision by the CPS to discontinue the case, and they have confirmed that they came under no outside pressure to do so. Mr Speaker, like members on all sides of the House, I remain very frustrated that this case won't be heard in court. Mr Speaker, we wanted to see this trial go ahead, and I have made clear on many occasions the decision not to proceed was an independent one for the Crown Prosecution Service, and the DPP has given assurances that there was no government interference in their decision. I note that the Joint Committee on the National Security Strategy will be undertaking an inquiry on the case and intends to hold public evidence sessions. The Intelligence and Security Committee have also indicated that they will also investigate. We welcome the launch of the inquiry and the investigations, which the government will, of course, fully cooperate with. Now, Mr Speaker, I have already set out the range of activity this government is taking to combat Chinese espionage threat. I hope that that is well understood, but let me provide this House with the reassurance that the government will take all necessary action to keep the UK safe and secure.